We are witnessing something special with this San Jose Sharks prospect as Igor Chernyshov is lighting it up as an understatement in the OHL as he is on record pace right now. It's absolutely insane. We have to go into exactly what Chernyshov is doing, plus a little known on another lesser known Sharks prospect, Nate Misskey, who is dominating in his own right for Victoria. We got to dive into a bunch of great stuff coming up on this episode of Sharks Digest. This is really special, but before we get into the video, guys, one big ask. We are only 5. That's it. 5 subscribers away from 1,000. It's a huge milestone for us. And if you're enjoying the daily Sharks content, it's completely free. Hit the subscribe button down below. Help support us. Help us hit this amazing milestone. All right, let's get right into it. And I want to start with Nate Misskey. Now, Nate Misskey, look, there's not a whole lot to talk about on this front. However, there is some interesting stuff, and I'll dive into it. He was a 5th-round pick this year, 143rd overall, out of the WHL, the Victoria Royals. Last season, 34 points in 44 games, which is pretty good. This season, following it up, again, career high in goals, 9 goals, 38 points in 50 games, and his penalty minutes are down. But what you're going to notice about Nate Misskey, if you weren't familiar with him already, 6'4", 212. He's a big, in theory, stay-at-home right shot defenseman, but he's been showing a bit of offensive flair. You go look him up. There's some pretty good offensive highlights along with some nice big hits. Mark, like with a guy like Nate Misskey, his profile is very much like big-bodied. His discipline has actually improved this year, and actually he's quite mobile as well, right? As you can see, Steven Ellis from Daily Faceoff said he's mobile. He's 6'3", solid shot, bit of a mean streak, but he loves to shoot the puck. He's not flashy. He displays a level of calmness that allows him to make smart heads-up plays. Gets him in trouble though because sometimes he can get caught being too reserved with the puck, but that's fixable. Absolutely, we're seeing that offensive flair this year with a guy like him, Mark. Look, again, it's going to take him a while if he even ever is going to crack that Sharks roster. But being as big as he is as a right-hand shot defenseman, those guys are always in demand. What are your thoughts on what he's doing this year? And do you see a world in the future where he could maybe crack the Sharks roster?
I mean, looking at him overall, the biggest thing was people are going to look and say, 5th-round pick, how can he be something special? But looking at guys like this, when being drafted, if they're not producing offensively and they don't really grow in their draft year, people are kind of afraid just to draft a guy. But seeing him develop an offensive game, we're seeing that he's a huge physical defenseman. As I said, you can pause this and read through it on his breakdown on him. But Misskey is a guy that could possibly, in the future, come in as a bottom 4 shutdown defenseman. The biggest problem with the Sharks team, we know, is the defensive end. Mike Grier has went out and done an awesome job at the draft. I mean, we're seeing the defensive prospects come through. Sam Dickinson, obviously being the most notable guy from this draft on defense. Sorry, Macklin Celebrini is obviously the most notable guy.
Yeah.
But Misskey coming in the 5th round as a right-handed shot, something the Sharks really need to build on. Looking at this, Josh, I'm kind of excited how Mike Grier isn't just going out and saying, hey, we're going to draft a bunch of forwards, figure out things. He really seems like he's going in, picking each position that they need to build on. We've seen it with Sam Dickinson. Misskey is a guy that might come in as the best defenseman on the team, but it does seem like he could pan out as a bottom 4 defenseman. Looking at this, do you think they're going to even target more defensemen, especially with a guy like Misskey growing? Do you think he could maybe join the Sharks team maybe in 2 to 3 years, maybe even 4?
I mean, look, yeah, it's always hard to tell, right? Especially when you're a bigger defenseman. We got to just see what he does at the AHL level. Like, I assume he'll come in and play bottom 4 minutes with the Barracuda probably next year. Again, he's 20 years old playing in the W right now. But regardless, like his play style is that kind of style that takes a little longer to develop. He's a bigger guy. Bigger defensemen take longer to develop. But hey, he had a 4-point game like a week ago and then another 2-point game recently. Like, there's some interesting potential there, but I just wanted to shout him out because you never really know what these guys could turn into, but he's looking really, really interesting. But I want to go back to this draft, this 2024 draft that was so good for the Sharks. You got Celebrini and Dickinson off the top, even this guy Misskey we're talking about now, but Igor Chernyshov, my gosh, he's the subject of this video. There's something special going on with him right now. 5th primary point of the night the other day for Igor Chernyshov. This is his 8th game. He has 2 5-point games, a 4-point game, and 4 other multi-point games. Say it with me, steal. First pick of the 2nd round of the Sharks, Igor Chernyshov. Look, I know we mentioned him before on the channel, but at this point, 23 points in 8 games. Yes, he's playing with a guy, Michael Misa, who's leading the OHL in points per game. He's got 50 goals in 50 games. But Chernyshov in his own right is scoring goals, 11 goals in 8 games, Mark. There's so much going on with him. Going from, being that 2024 draft pick with 4 points in 34 KHL games to being utterly dominant in the OHL, looking like a future star. Not to mention, he's 6'3", 225 at the age of 19 doing this. This is like, look, we've been high on him for a little while, but this is starting to get into uncharted territory.
And I mean, Igor, the biggest thing with him, we're seeing him dominate the OHL, and people overlook the fact that he was out with a shoulder injury to start the entire start of the OHL season. We've seen him kind of have just 4 points in 34 games with the KHL, but before that, he was at a point per game or above in the WHL, or sorry, in the MHL, not the WHL. Looking at Igor joining the OHL, putting up 23 points in 8 games, this is just insane to witness. I mean, looking at his stats, Josh, you can kind of go through this as well. Looking at his game log, 2 goals, 2 points, 1 goal, 1 assist, working her way down 5 points in the final with a total of 8 games played, 11 goals, 12 assists for 23 points. Looking at Igor, I think out of all the prospects, minus someone like Dickinson, Celebrini, Musty's looking amazing, I think Igor has a chance to join the middle six of the team, maybe in the next 2 years, especially with how dominant he's been, showing that he can play with elite talent after joining North American Ice for the first time after an injury.
I mean, the Sharks right now, we look at who they have on their team, and they're not afraid, especially at this point in the rebuild. Look, especially if they can put them with maybe another veteran player, they're not afraid to play 18, 19-year-olds on their roster. Like, straight up, we're seeing Will Smith get some legit chances, but a guy like Chernyshov, like, what he's doing right now, not only shooting prowess, but these cross-seam passes, everything he's doing looks like, oh, it's unbelievable. The shot is hard. The passes are crisp. Look at this one, right? Like that is so subtle, right to someone right in front of the net. There's some unbelievable stuff. But again, like I said, we see Celebrini, obviously he's a special case first overall pick, but coming in like 18, 19 years old, like, guess what? He's right on the Sharks roster. Will Smith is young. He's coming right in the Sharks roster. Chernyshov just turned 19. He'll turn 20 just after the start of next season. I'm going to be honest. I don't necessarily know what they plan for him, but I'm just going to say that as soon as they are ready to bring him into training camp, I think that he will be one of those guys that shocks everyone, not even shocks everyone at training camp, but just impresses so much that you might have to give him a shot, whenever that may be, right? As soon as he comes to training camp, he's going to get that shot on the team. So I'm very excited to see what he has to do. An elite prospects guide, I mean, everything they said is coming true. Powerful skater, yeah. High-end handler, yeah. And he excels at anticipating openings and exploiting them. Not only when he's moving, but also with his passes and his shots. He beats defenders consistently by properly setting up his dekes, building up speed below the puck, and then attacking with a speed advantage and working give and goes. While he's often direct, he also has a rather advanced delay game. He can pull out when the situation calls for it, aka he's smart. He knows what to do in the right situations. And those KHL points, hey, sometimes they don't tell you the whole story, Mark. And a guy like him, I don't know. Like, I don't know what we want to project for the rest of the OHL season, but if he can even sniff like 1.75 to 2 points per game, that's in elite territory. And I know it's a small sample of 8 games playing with some other very good players, but I think he seems to be, at this point, he's looking like the steal of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, and I kind of want to go back to his elite prospects, seeing a powerful skater, high end, big speed, this is huge to see from a guy that's 6'3". We see a lot of this kind of praise for skaters that are 6 foot, 5'11, even 6'1. Seeing someone that's almost 230 pounds, 6'3", at the age of 19, dominating the OHL, I think I kind of want to go back to the fact of training camp. I think there is a strong chance of once the Sharks go into training camp next year, he didn't get a chance to do it this year from a shoulder injury. I think he's going to put up a fight to maybe make this team. I mean, this is a Sharks team that has a lot of young guys. They have a lot of veterans that they'll have on this roster as well. But Igor has a shot to maybe make this team. I mean, we've seen Mike Grier and just Ryan Warsofsky want to play their young guys, get them experience. I wouldn't be shocked if he made an immediate jump. Now, listen, this is the first year on North American Ice. There's a chance where he goes to the AHL, but I do like the idea of maybe giving him a shot in the big league.
Look, there's a chance. There's a chance for everything. I would. It depends how he performs, right? I'm just excited. Like I'm not even going to predict. I'm just going to be excited. Stick along for the ride. I think a lot of you guys are doing this as well. Watching him play in the OHL right now is like magic, right? Something special is going on with this guy. This draft, you can mark my words. This 2024 draft for the Sharks is going to go down as one of their best drafts ever. And look, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself again, but like I don't really care because there's just those top 3 picks. It just looks like something amazing is ready to happen. But we got to know what you guys have to say about a guy like Chernyshov. I knew he was going to be good. I didn't anticipate this level of performance. I got to be honest. But leave your thoughts on all this stuff down below because that'll do it for this episode of Sharks Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel, guys. 5 subs away. If you made it this far in the video, there's got to be at least 5 of you who haven't hit the subscribe button that are still here almost 10 minutes in. Hey, if that's you, hit the free button down below. It'd mean the world to us. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Mark Pye. We'll catch you in the next one.